Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9.11, and of course we're playing as Japan. We are still pushing in Australia heavily, and we are trying to save the situation here. We are trying to cut up to the coast here and then see what we can do of cutting. Because once we get the coast cut, and then we can come up along here and take these two more ports. We've cut out supplies for all of these units. Yeah, mega overhaul, yeah. I was thinking about their navy might have quite a bit of potential there. Yeah. Like, fine, keep introducing all this new mechanics and change and tweaking, but if the... yeah. What's the point? I don't know, Django. On Twitter, no, just on Twitter, I've talked to the former head of the company who's now just, I mean, he's still a major owner of the company. But he's now sort of special projects guy or something. He's no longer running the company. About this stuff and about how bad the AI is here. And so he's aware of it. I mean, at that level, he's aware of it. And I don't know what they're thinking. And so, you know, meaning I've tweeted back and forth and he realizes it and he knows. I mean, I'm not saying he really knows who I am or anything like that. You know, I'm not Quill18 or some big YouTuber. But, Fred, you know, he's been kind enough at different points to reply to some of my tweets and things regarding Paradox and whatnot. So, again, I don't really know, you know, I mean, they don't think about me on a daily basis, but the various elements concerned in Paradox do have some vague idea of who I am. So yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. No, well, okay, the DLC technically may be more the focus trees, but again, I conflate because I don't pay attention to it. All the new the sea mines, the governments in exile, the you know, the sea zone exclusions. There's so many new mechanics to the game are really good. Yeah, we're still playing this, but we're talking about Hearts of Iron 4 before we started this episode, but we got to keep playing. Okay. They don't seem to be overly overpowered, but I've just played with a few historical ones. Yes, we have this problem here. Now, I did send some troop ships. Oh, these guys have finally made it over here. Okay, well, you guys come over to here. Can you get to there? Yeah, okay, you come there. Nope, troop ships aren't here yet. I'm sending some troop ships, and these, no, these aren't them. And these guys could go somewhere else. Convoy raiding passive. Let's move down here with them. They're heading there because I'm going to get forces to deal with that. Well, political stuff on Hoi 4. Now, they haven't done more political parties, but they have done, there's a new U.S. Congress mechanic, which, quite honestly, also, I'll say I haven't really looked at anything more than in the DLCs. And this is a big failing with Hearts of Iron 3, is that they're set up for the sort of the European Parliament system. But the Congress mechanic, there's a bunch more political stuff coming on. So they're doing a lot of good work. I mean, and I think Django will agree with me that they're doing... yes. Oh, there will be subcategories sometime in the future. So they're doing a lot of good work, but they still haven't fixed that AI. You know, so I am not complaining at all about a lot of their new stuff, and I don't think even Django is complaining about their new stuff. It's just, but what about the AI kind of thing first? Is all I think most of us are. There were a few good Waffen SS units. Hey, thanks for following the channel. Well, actually, no, that's from the other thing, but yeah. There are a few good Waffen SS units. Das Reich, Liebstandart, Winking, but most of them weren't that good, and some of them were actually crappy. Some of them were really crappy. One or two of them were craptastically crappy that they revolted and whatnot. So yeah, just because it's called Waffen SS doesn't mean that it's a good unit. 12. Oh, I don't know the numbers. Moderator, Arno, can you approve? Okay, you did approve. Good. Yeah, Hitlerjugend, yeah, that's okay. I put that at an okay level at least. And maybe if I think about it, I would come up with a couple of others. But yeah, it's that sort of a thing. Okay, now we are going to and this is for better or for worse, we're going to call in Saudi Arabia. And it's not just on a am I being gamey or not, as I was sort of challenged, but what I want to do now is to get this, now that I have made sure that some territories that are German, I wasn't sure whether this was going to go Saudi or German, because that they're puppets, they may not, but yeah, Saudi Arabia is in, and yes, I knew that this was going to happen for where we had these garrison units. Oh, did we have our all of our fighters up intercepting? Went for the Exodus. Remember, there had been huge amounts, and I don't know whether it was good or bad that and they're still here. Okay, air intercept. Air intercept. No, well, I don't care about. Okay. Let's see, will these guys catch any of the British forces leaving and chew them up? Okay, we got battleship HMS Conqueror. I think it was a pretty good unit. Fürstenberg and Hohenstaufen, I remember as being good. I'd have to look up there. Yeah, especially the ones formed from onwards. Yeah, defending against, but they're just famous in that they fought the Americans, and we remember that. I would say as much as anything else. These guys need fuel. Saudis don't have enough fuel. Well, yeah, they have oil, but not fuel. Well, now that you have fuel, attack them. Okay, okay. You guys come here, then to there. We're going to compare the German army with the Japanese army, and we'll do which is better. German entirely. Japanese army wasn't that good. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't that good. Okay. Indian Army recruitment advance. Very good, which should give me recruit Indian units. Yay. And to the front, 50-50 chance. 2 different types. Let's see, what did we get in the lottery? We've got a Colonial Cavalry Division with light armor. Okay, that's actually sort of good enough. We're going to move over here and maybe send to the front. They need an HQ, which there's one over here that's sort of a orphan HQ that we'll try to get. No, it's over here, is it? Yeah, that. Maybe we'll get that HQ up to it. No, I wouldn't say the Japanese tanks were good early war. If you look at them, no. I'm sorry, Arno. I don't really think so. At least that's my evaluation of them. Even comparing them to what was going on then, my evaluation is no. Now, of course, compared to later war tanks, they suck even worse, but I'd say French tanks are actually, in some ways, better, yeah. Polish tanks are probably better. Trying to think. Yeah, Polish tanks may be better. The 262? Oh yeah. Oh yes, it was used. And it was reasonably good. So long as the engines didn't burn out. The metal quality was the problem there. They just didn't have good enough metals to take the high heats of a jet engine. Push. No rest. Push, push, push. Yes, you're mostly pushing against headquarters, so good. Yes, push, 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 push. Everyone push. Yeah, well, we are coming around it here, the river, if this is one you're talking about. But I'm just not letting them have any breaks. If I can keep pushing, I'm going to do so. Yeah, and what was it, Chuck Yeager, who shot one down. They're sort of, the U.S. success against them was mostly in getting them over their air bases. Okay, you guys support this attack. Support this attack. We're not going to do that with all units here, but a few units support the attack. So we're hitting them from more than one province. We're hitting them hard. Okay, you guys move forward. Move forward up to there. From left and right, and their full potential. Yep, you're right. The mobilization was a bit late. Until Speer really got in charge of it. Yeah, when they were landing. Sorry, I was getting to there and got distracted. Yeah, it was landing, taking off, hitting them on their air bases. Is because I think Chuck Yeager's. When I first saw a ME-262, I shot it down or something like that. Some sort of statement that he made. And yeah, they were vulnerable at times, but once they got going, you know, up in the air, flying well, things going well, they were, you know, it's almost accidental that they get shot down at that point. Meaning somebody gets lucky. Somebody gets lucky and hits them with a machine gun, you know, some bombers, they come tearing in or something like that. At those stages, you weren't catching them with any of the American fighters. And so unless you just happened to be in a lucky spot and happened to get on target, you weren't going to shoot them down. Now, of course, taking off, landing, hitting them when they're at their sort of field air bases that they were trying to hide them at, all of that kind of stuff, that's where they were taking their losses. At least that's my understanding of it. You're just never going to make enough to to get to even out with America. U.S. production is just way too much. I don't think most people realize the level of American production that was going on then. Remember, America builds, I think it's 115 aircraft carriers. And all of the aircraft and all the supporting elements for them. 115 aircraft carriers, all told, during the war. No, all right. No, actually, I think it builds more, but that's how many they operate, because they also give some to the British for Lend-Lease. And maybe to some other countries, too. But, so, America is way out producing anything and everything. Okay, you guys, you come over to deal with these garrison units, because the Saudis are being a little too timid. You come up over here. You're already heading in the right direction. And armor unit, you come up over here too. Get on trains, go across the desert where there are no. Okay, now our bombers. Let's hit here. Okay, these guys here. Hit here. They had been hitting here, but we hadn't had anything operating there or to operate against. Okay, well, they're pounding all that. Wasn't their plan to build, but they're actually they built the statement early in the war is, well, how many aircraft carriers do we need, was 150. They operate by the time the war ends, there's 115 aircraft carriers in operation. That's how many. Now that includes CVEs, CVLs, the Jeep carriers. These aren't all the big aircraft carriers. These are aircraft carriers of all types in the American Navy, of anything that would be called an aircraft carrier. And that's just aircraft carriers, and their fighters and all of their stuff. So the idea that a few more, doubling German tank production or even tripling German tank production with their higher quality, and in some aspects it is higher quality, is going to somehow mitigate against America's ability to put tanks onto the field is just ludicrous. I mean, really it is. Trust me, I've mentally working this stuff out in my head for 30 plus years or more, and what if we just, if Germany just had X number more of this, or just now in a particular battle against a particular American setting, sure, but that's just then for then, and America's only prepared for that. So production at the time, nobody, and I say at the time because today is different, but at the time nobody is going to in any way effectively compete against the U.S. in. We need to reorganize some of our forces here. Yeah, you get on board. Well, let's just do it this way. On board. Okay, all of you guys are on board. I think we have enough escorts, and I think this is going to be the fastest way is to get them to here. And then get them going. Yeah, just transport. Get them a little closer to the front. Oh, do you guys need to get on board? You guys need to get on board too. Just leaving a few garrison types. So yeah, it's. Oh, am I missing? Why Churchill because Hitler declares war on America. Well, there's a whole analysis. Hello, Carl Lindendorf. Yes, I love that about Hearts of Iron 4. There's so much I love about Hearts of Iron 4 that, I hate. And I don't, sorry, I forgot your name if you're still watching, who's a strategic command player. I love in like strategic command, I get to control my allies. I wish I could control my puppets at least here. But I love that in... currently in Hearts of Iron 4, I can request some of these forces from my puppets, and now we're going to be able to request forces from allies that I get to control. So sure, Yemen is still Yemen. Yemen is still, in Hearts of Iron 4, is still dealing with whatever production it has, or we're lend-leasing, or we're selling arms to them, or whatever we may be doing to them to get them going, but they're still going to be just them. But then I can get some of their forces to do with what I want, whether if I just want to send them to garrison, my rear areas because they're junky units, and then focus all of my good stuff on the front, or whether I want to have them come and support my better stuff. There's so much I want to do, or I love about Hearts of Iron 4, and this is what really I look forward to that. If we're looking at Hitler's declaration of war against America after Japan attacks, in reality, it was only going to be a short matter of time before FDR is able to get a declaration of war out of the U.S. Congress. It is going to happen after Japan attacks against Germany. Everybody knows this. But Hitler believes and thinks that with the current state of the U-boat warfare, with the current state of the war in the Pacific, that timing is going to allow it's going to be the most optimal timing, because if they wait too long and America is able to crush Japan and Britain, who by this time, Britain and he's fighting the Britain and the Soviets, and America is already heavily supporting Britain, with money and supplies and equipment and tanks and whatnot. That if America is just focusing and kills Japan, they'll be armed up, and then they're going to come after, even if they don't immediately, then later come after Germany. So it's best to get them in now. And Hitler, of course, I don't know if you know this, loves American movies, watches a lot of American movies in German or with subtitles or whatever. So he's familiar with America through the movies, but he doesn't really understand America, really doesn't understand the scale of America. Yeah, I'm sure he's looked at a map, but to really understand it. And he's also, with his weird racialite views, he also has his weird racial views, and I just want to say that as distancing myself, but also I think they're weird. So he sees America as, it has this sort of, and this I'm going from Hitler's, not my views, but Hitler's views of America. You have this sort of Anglo-Germanic, because there's Germans and there's Anglos, which are sort of Germanic, sort of Anglo-Germanic elite element within America that sort of runs America, but it's made up of Italians and Poles and other Slavs that have moved to America, and it has blacks and all these other people that are just lesser peoples, and it's controlled by the Jewish media, and that's dragging America down, and all of these kinds of things, that he really sees America as not that capable of a place. That's how he really views America. Not that it's the Soviet Union that he's going to kick in the door and it's going to collapse, but he really doesn't see them as being much of a thing. He sees, of course, experiences, the American Expeditionary Force in World War I, but that again, is a very small element of America getting sent over compared to the overall size of it. So he really doesn't understand how big of a bear he's poking, but he's also realizing that, hey, if I can get in and U-boats sink their ships now and do this all now, and will support the Japanese and take some of the weight from the Japanese and allow the Japanese to really conquer in the Pacific, that will then set things up. That's what he really sees and why he does what he does. Huge fan of Charlie Chaplin. Well, probably not after he made The Great Dictator, JP. If you've ever watched The Great Dictator, which is a huge anti-Nazi movie. I don't know if he was particular, but everybody, at some point in the world, from the silent days into the early speaking days, he's like the most popular thing. So I'm not saying he didn't. I don't particularly remember comments on Charlie Chaplin, but I know he watched a lot of Hollywood movies, had them screened at the Berchtesgaden and other places that he was watching, private showings and things like that. So he definitely consumed American movies. Well, I'm very much also for securing the Middle East before going after the Soviets. Securing the Mediterranean, which would include neutralizing in one fashion or another Gibraltar and closing the Straits of Gibraltar, whether that means attacking Gibraltar or something, occupying it or just bombing it and making it unusable, and securing the Eastern Mediterranean and everything else before going for the Soviet Union. I'm very much in that camp. Do that first, then go for the Soviets. Yeah, he Mecha Boy. Yeah, he wanted to take some pressure off of the Japanese. And the reality is, in December 1941, America is entirely unprepared for war with Germany. It's not well into 42 that we do our first landings against the French, which there are real battles, small, short, but real battles against the Vichy French forces in some locations. And then the first real sort of disaster situation of the Kasserine Pass, which is famous. And I mean, that wasn't, well, one, Rommel isn't able, just literally, if there's almost no opposition, Rommel doesn't have the wherewithal to really push against the Americans in a, push them out of North Africa. He has the ability to make local attacks, and the Kasserine Pass is a very successful local attack. But, it really shows that America in 42, throughout all of 42, is not really prepared to take on Germany. Now, by the time you're getting to 43, 44, oh yeah, it is. I mean, 44, we're invading, northern France. So if you're looking at, which is the end of 41, December 41, America is not ready. It's not going to be ready through most of 42 to really take on. Sure, take out North Africa, support the British here and there, maybe come into someplace like Sicily with British support, but that's taking on Italians with some extra German forces. That isn't, taking on and defeating Germany. That's taking on small bits and pieces. Yes, in 42. And so Hitler's right about that. And if America is only focusing on the Pacific, they're going to steamroll Japan even faster, as he sees it. So there are good reasons, but there is just no good reason to have World War II from Germany's perspective, because it is going to lose World War II. If it, at the time that they started, whether we can talk about a 42 or 43 year start date, could Germany have been in enough of a position and whatnot, that's a whole nother thing. But when it starts, when it happens, Germany cannot win World War II. You know, with any realistic what ifs. You know, we're not going, well, what if the Martians showed up, or what if they made flying jet tanks that could fly and land, and airborne panthers. You know, things we don't even have today. Unless you count the Hind helicopter or something. So unless you're going to create some complete and total fantasy of a what-if situation, and obviously we do create realistic what-if situations with what we're playing here. You know, what if you secure the Mediterranean in 41, and you do, so you look at my German series, what if you do a 42 invasion of Russia? Yeah, we can do that, but then we're dealing with this game with the still bad AI for Hearts of Iron 3. It's just not as bad as Hearts of Iron 4. Oh, no, actually, no. Yamamoto says... his quote is, if you were to invade the mainland USA, you will find a rifle behind every blade of grass. He was very much oh, you mean attack America, succeed in the Pacific? Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, sorry, I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. Yes, you're right about that, McCall. If we attack the U.S., we can run rampant, I think was the translation of his term. Though he did speak English. He traveled extensively, was educated in America. He understood America. For 6 months, out in the Pacific, for 6 months, he can or I think, yeah, however long, but 6 months a year, he can do well. But beyond that, he knows Japan's going to lose. He knows, because he's been to Detroit. He's looked at the American automobile factory. He knows that if you ever set foot on the American mainland, you're going to have a rifle behind every blade of grass. And Japan is not going to build airplanes enough of them that can fly from Hawaii if they conquer Hawaii and bomb enough of America to defeat America. He knows there is no way that they're going to defeat America. He knows that from day one. But he also knows that if he does nothing, they're still going to go to war, so he's going to do something to do the best he can. That is very much his take on it. They're going to lose. He's going to make it do the best he can in a bad situation. Oh, well, no. Do we? No. Yeah. Just these guys. Come there. Just move into the empty province, or one being evacuated. Okay, so we are... You support that attack. There we go. More Australian destroyers taken out. Let's move these this group down here. We've got a light carrier. Oh, we'll base out of here then. Rebase. And we have, yeah, another carrier group coming up. Probably need to rebase to here. Yeah, the giant wakes. Yeah, no, it's the sleeping giant. America is the sleeping giant of the world. And it would have stayed asleep, except for you Europeans finally get us into World War I. That starts to wake us up. And then in World War II, you wake America up. Before World War II starts, we want to have nothing to do with Europe and other places. Yeah, sure, we get the Philippines from Spain because Spain is, messing with things and whatnot. But we really aren't trying to be the world's policeman. We're not trying to be the great superpower. We just want to peacefully be. And Europe pokes us really hard a couple of times. You're welcome. didn't have huh. A good what if would be if the Germans didn't have asked Hitler to release the Panzer Division so they could use them right away. I don't quite get oh, you mean on D-Day maybe? Yeah, had they kept up at the front, that might have been a bit better, but I don't think it would have. I don't think at the if you look at what actually comes ashore, because they don't know where it's coming ashore, you know, for D-Day. Getting out in Brest is just unsuitable, actually. Like here and here, most of this coast is unsuitable. This coast down here is low-lying and could be suitable for invasion, but you just got greater distance. Around here, I think there are some suitable places, but then you're still having to come through the Channel Islands and, you know, a little bit messed up navally. All along here is reasonably suitable invasion things. And I think the hammer blow, when it comes, because it basically comes just to here, since the Germans don't know where it is, I don't think they could get or move enough stuff without knowing where it's coming. Yeah, I know. Topics are slowing down the episodes. I'm actually realizing that, Dark Star, as I'm doing this, but it's sort of fun. I like talking with you guys. Yeah. Rommel, of course, wants the armored divisions deployed along the coast. Von Rundstedt, who hasn't operated under American air power, wants them as a reserve to move to the front. If Germany had air power coverage, von Rundstedt is right. But since they don't have air coverage, Rommel is right. But even as you talk about it, they don't release them soon enough because Hitler and others are still thinking this is going to be the real invasion and this is just a sideshow. And that is because they weren't there at the beach looking and seeing how many ships were at sea. I mean, it's as simple as that. Okay, this action's going good, so I want to move a couple of these guys up here. But we're also going to move you here. No, let's start sending you around this way. No, you're only battling one division. Okay, stop attacking. The other one's already retreating. Okay, we've got one that, because we kicked them out of there. Winning there, and finally won a lot. Be that. You guys come across there. Now, how are we doing up here? Oh, look at this. Looky here, looky here. They're down to just a few divisions. They've returned these to American controlled, and they've sort of evacuated back out. But let's mess with them now here so that they're under some pressure here, because I want them to not send all their forces down here. So we want to press here when we can. Yeah, those guys, because this is a mountain province, yeah. And you support that attack. Uh-oh, want somebody shattered. Okay, well. It looks like the British have turned the 7th Armored over to the U.S. for operational control. Okay, you're not that good of a division, so you come around this way. You're a better division, you come that way. You're not good, so you come around and you support the attacks. I'm not sure whether I want to reinforce the swing or whatever, and I figure we're probably going to get enough to change this equation. Okay, they've already won, so you guys follow up and move across. Auto saving, yes, okay. Now we're across here. What's our triangle? Pause. Okay, well, you slam into there since you're a mountain division. Might as well use you where you are best suited. We'll send these Marines up to support you in the mountains. Okay, attach you to somebody. Yeah, come up to there. Okay, we're across the river. Yeah, that's undeveloped. You attack there, so you're not coming across the river. You come to there. That everybody there is doing something. Okay, you stop attacking, but you continue. No, it's fine, Dark Star. I definitely understand the concerns that people have, especially viewing later, that they want to see the game progress, and I can get wrapped up in talking about things, but I think you may notice I sort of like it, or I wouldn't be doing it. It's sort of good and bad. Okay, we have a little bit of Marine forces there. So what we're going to do here is push, and with the armor, yes. Armor division there, and oh, we want to attach you to, yep, that's fine. And that's fine. We're going to push into there. Snow eases off. Well, it may be snowing in some of these places. You can support the attack. So I don't want to abandon that province. Okay, so we're hitting that pretty hard. Okay, good thing we're reinforcing this. Big hammer blows coming down there. Venezuela, we give them money for crude oil. See, Venezuela is over here, and used to have lots of crude oil until socialists came on, and then they effed it all up. I mean, it's still there, but they just can't figure out how to get it out of the ground. Because communists ruin everything they touch. Even if we have a few communists and socialists watching, I think we might, they ruin everything they touch. I've yet to see something that socialist communists have done well. In the history of mankind, it has not seemed to work out. So, but my main problem is we got to trade past Brazil, and they're already hitting a little bit of our convoys down here, so decline. You know, realistically, how do you go from being a massive oil exporter to completely ruining your oil companies? Okay, let's counterattack. and support the attacks. I don't want to abandon this province, even if we are victorious there. Yes, socialism as a plague. Well, we produce a lot of crude oil now. Oh yeah, no, with our fracking, we have massively increased it. But it's Citgo and whatever the other Venezuelan companies may be called have just completely wrecked their oil company. It just doesn't function anymore. Yeah, I'm using a little bit. I've had very bad responses or inconsistent responses. So what I'm going to do now is mentioning that, and since you're reminding me, thank you. Let's come here and tell Yemen to come up to there. But notice I've had this one here forever for Iraq, and well, early on they didn't pay attention to it. Now they should. But this one I'm actually going to take off to hopefully get them up to here, but I don't know. But notice, well, these are HQs, but they haven't moved this guy forward. I don't know, or these Poles that have joined the Saudis because they think the Saudis are cool. Okay, HMS Barnum was lost. Carrier flight deck optimization. Okay, I believe that is under carriers, probably. No, carriers. And that's a one and done. Okay, we don't need to worry about that. And our forces are under attack. Good. Okay, now here. Yes, we have units that aren't moving anywhere. You join the attack there. You join the attack there. You push into the empty spot. You also need to attack where they aren't, because that will be freeing up spots soon. Yeah, we liberated, the Saudis joined the Axis, and then they declared war. The British or the Allies conquered them and turned them into democracy. And then we liberated them from the British, and they're back in the Axis now. And I've called them to war, actually. So we also puppeted Yemen. Okay, you guys might as well support that. Jumping between two fronts. At least right now it's only mostly a two-front war. Oh, do we have these guys up here yet? Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, all of these guys move north. Just get north. Okay, is there anybody here not doing anything? No, they're all either... Okay, you guys can cross the river. Here, okay. You don't specifically have engineers, so you support that attack. Now do these guys. They don't either. Well, join the attack there. Okay, yes, we'll take the divisional HQ. And the Australians have lost a heavy cruiser. Close air support prototypes. Great. Well, we'll increase fighter bomber prototypes. We've got a few of them and we've won there. Yeah, they are heading a few divisions north. Yemen is. You mean the pop-ups? They had complaints about pop-ups, so their current primary thing is almost no pop-ups. The only thing that happens are the notifications of the newspaper stuff. I like pop-ups. I don't like that they happen here because mostly I'm going to click here. Sometimes, yeah, I'll click way over, at a unit, well, way over here. But mostly I'm clicking here. So I wish the pop-ups would happen like over here or over here so that they show up in my face and I know what's happening. But they're not somewhere that I'm mostly getting ready to click. And sometimes I'll click something and it'll be the wrong thing. Okay, support attack from all sides. There we are. And they've just won. Okay, you guys stop attacking. Yeah, you're doing well. You guys support that attack. We want a little more support. Or attack down here. Just against one unit, but... don't know if we're going to really be able to send them reinforcements. These guys, well, these guys, they can head there. Okay, well, we're going to end the episode, not the stream, so you guys on YouTube watching currently, just hang loose. But all of you watching later on YouTube, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. You too can show up for the Sunday show. Love to have you here. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And, of course, I love hearing from you. So please post questions, comments, suggestions, tips. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.